So, hello students. Today that the literature part, the chapter name is you are looking the subject within. And I have written the meaning of summit. It means the highest point, and within means that itself. Written by Major S.E.S. Ahluwalia. So, this S.E.S. Ahluwalia was a major in Indian Army, and he conquered on the highest peak in the world. It is Mount Everest. So, anyone that who has a passion, anyone that who has a self-interest, that he or she can achieve the goal. But the passion must be there. For maintaining the strength in our body, the physical strength, we can do anything in the world. But what about inside the heart? This is more important. If we have the intellectual power, if we have the wisdom, if we have the understanding, and since that I have a passion in my heart, so with that passion I can achieve everything, or that anyone can achieve everything in the world. So summit means that is the highest point. So how to reach on the highest point, mentally as well as physically, and within is himself. So everybody has the power of thinking, the wisdom, and the intellectual power also. And due to that reason, anyone, if he or she has a great passion, he or she can achieve a goal. So first of all, that we should increase the keen interest inside our heart. And since that anyone is very much strong with taking the decision inside the heart, that they can achieve the goal. So here that Major S.E.S. Ahluwalia, he is a major in Indian Army, and he achieved, he conquered, he climbed on the Mount Everest, that is the highest peak in the world. So a lot of that description also can be given. But here that let us see that what exactly the major felt while climbing on the Mount Everest. So he is writing, or he is expressing his idea, like when he conquered on the Mount Everest, when he climbed on the Mount Everest, he was observing that everything has been spread, that the scene was spread, everywhere that it was spread. And inside the heart, whatever that he got, the inspiration, so that he was expressing his own idea. And first of all, that he understood that there must be the humbleness, the politeness in our heart. We always should think that whatever the strength, wisdom, everything that we have got, by the grace of the God only. If we are healthy, it is really by the grace of the God. If we are thinking in a very positive way, that the God's blessing. If we are thinking for the welfare of the mankind, the humanity, and love towards the animals, the wildlife, it is always that inside our heart. And who provides that this kind of the positive thinking? It is the God. And for this, that we have to remain very polite and very humble. So, Majors, that heart was telling that of course now he had climbed on the Mount Everest, so many thanks to the God. But at the same time, he had a little bit disappointment also in his heart. So what was the reason? That he understood that such a summit, such a highest point that he already had climbed, but there was no such kind of the other highest point also to climb upon. This is only the highest point as Mount Everest. Apart from the Mount Everest, is there any more that where a person also can climb upon that? No. It was an ultimatum goal. And then after, he also understood that coming in the future, that there will be no such kind of the Everest. There will be no certain things, and only that it will be a flat road. So again, that the person as who are climbing on the Mount Everest, but at the same time that we also have to look upon down also, the complete flat road. And to climb upon the Mount Everest, of course that those who are interested in expedition or the mountain or the mountaineering and who has a great passion, who has a very keen interest that he can achieve the goal, there is no doubt at all. And this sort of happiness, it remains forever in anyone's life. That is also more important. So, this kind of an experience that changes in your heart. And whoever has seen this kind of the Mount Everest or the great Himalayas, and those who are having the passion that they cannot live alone. Anyhow, that if they get the inspiration from their heart and soul, that they can achieve their goal. So, Major is also feeling the very extreme, that exciting in his heart, like after climbing upon the Mount Everest, and whenever that he looks behind there, that he understands that physically he climbed upon the Mount Everest, but what about the mentality? What about the mentally? Mental fitness is also there. So this is also that no less difficult. This is more difficult than climbing upon the Mount Everest. So inside our heart, we have to win this heart by showing the humbleness, by showing the politeness, and by showing the great love towards the nature and the mankind. This is more important rather than climbing upon the Mount Everest. So, after that climbing upon the Mount Everest, of course that he became very happy. But gradually, the day also kept on passing. Some more also may climb upon the Mount Everest. So the previous one that the people might forget, and the new one that who is climbing upon the Mount Everest, they will be remembered. Like this, that this is the change of the world, the change of the universe. And then after that, only the great memories that it will be inside our heart and soul. So, by thinking this kind of the inspiration, then he understood that why do people climb upon the Mount Everest? Whether that they have the great passion, whether they wanted to do something extra in their life. Of course, there are many persons all over the world, but very few of them that they can achieve the goal. So dear students, it is also a source of inspiration for you. You also have the intellectual power. You also have the physical strength. You also have the intelligence. So you can now, do you understand that very few of them that they reach at the top? Why not you? You can also do, but you have to bring the passion in your heart. You have to make the strong feeling in your heart and soul. Then only that one can achieve the goal. So, likewise, now this actually that Major is also expressing his own feelings that in the world or in anyone's life there are many obstacles, there are many difficulties, but they should not get the nervous. Rather, they should feel or they should face the difficulties and they should get the success in their life. So, in this, for this asking the question inside the heart, Major also has a personal answer. That what did he understand? That from his childhood, the Major was also, whenever that he saw the Mount Everest, he created a more and more interest in his heart and soul to climb the Mount Everest one day. So he always looked at the Mount Everest, and he also understood that climbing the Mount Everest is not an easy task. He also has to face the great difficulties, the dreadful, all the roads and other things. So the Major accepted the challenge, and he tried to ask one question in his heart and soul, that why to climb upon the Mount Everest? Why not like the others? But he understood that this is only the highest point in the world. And to reach upon the highest point, that anyone's, the capability also comes to an end. But those who are having the strong willpower, they can achieve their goal. And of course, they have to do a lot of hard work also, beyond of their own imagination. Then only that the one can achieve the goal, whatever it is. So, whatever that the passion that anyone that gets inside, he should not get defeated. And rather, that he cannot leave that particular world or the particular work So, likewise, that majorly is also feeling the same, the feeling. And he also observes that from a longer distance, whenever that he looks at the highest point as Mount Everest, then he understands that what exactly that the importance of climbing the Mount Everest. And he had a great, the revaluation also in his heart. And so that he achieved that his goal. And the world is the full of the beautiness. The nature also provides many beautiful things in the world. But at the same time, there are rough roads also. So those that are very flat roads, anyone can go. Anyone can run also very fast. But if the roads are very rough and tough, there that they have to do their a lot of work to achieve their goal. So, like in his childhood, the great writer Major S.P.S. Ahluwalia also that received had the same feeling, and he accepted the challenge. And whenever that he looks at his back, he finds that why did he climb upon the Mount Everest? So this is very hard to explain, very difficult to explain. Like, why do people also take breathe? Because that it provides the oxygen, which is very much essential for a human being to get the oxygen in the atmosphere. At the same time, he also understood that why do people also help to their neighbors? So, likewise, that why do the people also do the goodness towards the people? This positive thinking that it remains in his heart and soul. So, by getting that kind of inspiration, the people actually that help to each other. But this is actually no more that possible way to give the answers on the spot. Suppose that you are going home from your school. On the way that you met a person who was very hungry. He did not have the money with him. So what do? Whatever that the pocket money you have, you immediately that you take out and hand over to the poor person. Even though that you are very much willing to eat the pani puri, but however that if you saw that person was very hungry, immediately that you took out the money and handed over to the poor person. This is your greatness. This is your humbleness. This is your politeness. It comes automatically from your heart and soul. And to climb upon the Mount Everest, it is only a part of the achievement. But inside our heart, whatever that the source of inspiration that originates, and accordingly that if you do it, this is more successful than climbing upon the Mount Everest. And a person that who has the humanity, the mankind, and time to time that he helps to the people, even though to produce anyone's that opinion, if it is also positive, that is also called as the greatness of the people. And this one actually that the major army warrior. He understands. Like to climb upon the Mount Everest is an easy task. But the mankind which remains within, which remains inside our heart, what does actually that our heart think? What does our soul think? If it is in negative, the man changes into the positive thinking. And to overcome or to get the victory upon your heart and soul, it acts as a very important role rather than climbing upon the Mount Everest. So, likewise, that if anyone that climbs upon the Mount Everest, of course that he has to travel, he has to make the journey through the ice only, and he also an expedition. What does he have? He has all kinds of the tools and the seeds to climb upon the Mount Everest. The thick rope. He also has an axe through where that ice is also cut. And then only that an expedition that is called the mountaineer, that he makes the way to climb upon the Mount Everest. And slowly, gradually, that he has to walk upon the Mount Everest. And then after, for every step that he applies all kinds of the earnest effort, physically, mentally, everything that what strength that he has, that everything that he applies to achieve the goal. Likewise, that the very famous, that mountaineers, this also has inspired everyone to how to climb upon the Mount Everest. So, likewise, that in the world or that in our life, that many kinds of that this moment, many kinds of this difficulty, it also that it comes in our life. But however, we need not to get the nervousness in our heart and soul, and rather we have to face the difficulty with the great interest, with the great inspiration, and then only that he or she can overcome upon this kind of difficulty. When that he was climbing upon the Mount Everest, there was only 50 feet more to climb, and so that he could have achieved the Mount Everest. Even the 100 feet also. So, moreover that he is guessing that 50 to 100 feet he was far from the climbing the Mount Everest. But after all, remember, if any person that goes to Baba Dham, then carry with the Ganga Jal also from Sultanganj to Baba Dham. Moreover that it is 80 kilometers. 3 or 4 days that he keeps on walking by giving the slogan, Bol Bam likewise. And when that he sees the temple of that Lord Shiva from a longer distance, even though that he is very much tired, but when he looks at the temple of Lord Shiva, he gets the more inspiration, and automatically that he receives the physical strength in his body. Automatically that he receives the intelligence in his body. and so on, that again his feet start moving towards the Lord Shiva's temple. This is called the self-inspiration. This is called the self-interest which actually that created in our article. And then after climbing or after reaching to Baba Dham, what do we do? That we bow our head and we give the thanks to Lord Shiva. That thank God, with your blessing we could be able to achieve, to visit your temple. In the same light that Major Ahluwalia also, that after climbing upon the Mount Everest, first of all that he prayed to the God and he thanked to the God only, that due to the blessing of the God he could be able to gain success in his life. Likewise, there were many friends along with Major S.S. Ahluwalia. They were from the different religions. They had the cross around his neck. Mr. Ahluwalia also had the God and Goddess, the locket also around the neck. So they offered to the Mount Everest for visiting or thinking that it was the blessing of the God only. And they took out all the religious locket from their neck and they kept on the Mount Everest. This was a holiness. This was a holy cross. This was a holy locket of the God and Goddess. And they kept over there. Like there were what did actually that the Major Ahluwalia that he did, since he was Punjabi, he was wearing the locket of Guru Nanak. And another mountaineer, his name was Rava, that he took out the locket of Goddess Durga. And another person whose name was Kudor Ji, that he was, since that he was Buddhist, he took out the locket of the God Buddha. And Advan Hillary, who was an English man, that he took out the cross from his neck and he kept under the ice on the Mount Everest. This was a relic. Relic का मतलब होता है निशानी. So this was a great memento that all the mountaineers, those who achieved success, did they think the complete crowd inside our heart and soul? Not at all. They were very humble. They were very polite. And after climbing upon the Mount Everest, they thanked to the God. And then after that, they took out the holy locket from their neck and they kept on the top of the Mount Everest. So, definitely that it brings the changes in anyone's life those who achieve success in life. I'm not talking about that while climbing on the Mount Everest. There are many more the paths, there are many more the roads in the field of education, in the field of games and sport, in the field of painting, in the field of anything, whether that they are male or female. That does not make any kind of a discrimination. Only that the passion that it should be increased in our heart and soul. This is why a very good proverb is given. If there is a will, there is a way. So through this story that we have to achieve, or that we understand that to achieve the great success in our life, definitely that we have to work hard. We should not get defeated. Rather, that we have to face the challenge